The studio lights of Good Morning America hummed with their usual morning vigor, casting a warm, artificial glow over the polished set where anchors Robin Roberts, Michael Strahan, and George Stephanopoulos sat poised like sentinels of the day's first broadcast. It was a crisp autumn morning in New York City, the kind where the skyline outside the Hudson Square studio peeked through with a hazy golden hue, promising stories of inspiration, celebrity glamour, and lighthearted banter to kickstart the nation's day. Cameras rolled smoothly as the theme music swelled, a catchy jingle that had become synonymous with wake-up calls across America, and the show opened with Robin's infectious smile welcoming viewers to another edition of GMA. "Good morning, America. We're so thrilled to have you with us today," she beamed, her voice a soothing melody that eased the transition from sleep to alertness for millions tuning in from coast to coast. George, ever the polished political pundit turned morning show maestro, leaned forward with his trademark intensity, his eyes sharp behind wire-rimmed glasses, ready to dive into the headlines. Michael Strahan, the former NFL star turned charismatic co-host, added his booming laugh to the mix, cracking a quick joke about the latest football scores to lighten the mood before the serious segments kicked off. The control room buzzed with quiet efficiency, producers whispering cues into earpieces, directors signaling cuts between shots, and interns clutching clipboards like lifelines in the high-stakes world of live television. Little did the audience know that this ordinary Thursday broadcast was about to erupt into something extraordinary, a clash that would ripple through social media like a seismic wave, turning a routine interview into the viral sensation of the week. As the show progressed through weather updates from Ginger Z, who painted vivid pictures of sunny skies in the Midwest and scattered showers on the East Coast, the energy built toward the guest segment. Laura Spencer chimed in with her lifestyle flair, teasing a feature on fall fashion trends that had everyone in the studio nodding appreciatively. But beneath the surface polish, there was an undercurrent of anticipation. Today's special guest was none other than Denzel Washington, the two-time Oscar winner whose latest film, a gritty biopic on civil rights icon Malcolm X revisited through modern lenses, had critics raving and box offices booming. Denzel's presence was always electric. He wasn't just an actor. He was a force, a man whose baritone voice could command a room and whose piercing gaze could unsettle even the most seasoned interviewer. The producers had hyped this appearance for weeks, envisioning a deep dive into his career, his activism, and the timely themes of racial justice that echoed louder than ever in 2025's polarized landscape. George, with his background as a Clinton White House advisor, was tapped to lead the interview, his political acumen seen as the perfect foil to Denzel's unapologetic candor. As the commercial break faded, the stagehands wheeled out a promotional poster for the film, its bold imagery of Denzel as Malcolm staring defiantly into the camera, and the audience, both in studio and at home, leaned in, sensing the gravitas about to unfold. Robin introduced him with flourish. "Joining us now, the legendary Denzel Washington, star of the must-see, X Marks the Future." "Denzel, welcome back to GMA." Applause erupted from the live crowd, a mix of tourists, fans, and industry hopefuls who had snagged tickets months in advance. Denzel strode onto the set with that signature swagger, his tailored suit hugging his broad shoulders, a subtle nod to Malcolm's sharp style, and shook hands with the anchors, his grip firm and his smile genuine but guarded. "Thank you, Robin, Michael, George, always a pleasure to be here bright and early," he rumbled, settling into the plush interview chair that seemed almost too small for his commanding frame. The conversation started smoothly, as these things often do, with Michael lobbing softballs about Denzel's workout routine to stay ripped at 70, drawing chuckles and a modest deflection from the actor about just good genes and better barbecue. Robin followed with questions on the film's production, praising the innovative use of AI to recreate archival footage, a tech twist that had younger audiences buzzing. Denzel obliged, his responses measured and magnetic, weaving anecdotes from the set that painted vivid pictures of late-night script revisions and emotional breakthroughs with co-stars. The chemistry was palpable, the kind that makes morning TV addictive, informative yet entertaining, with just enough sparkle to keep eyelids from drooping over coffee mugs. But as George took the reins, shifting the tone toward the film's provocative themes, the air thickened imperceptibly. "Denzel, your portrayal of Malcolm X doesn't shy away from the rage, the unfiltered anger at systemic injustice. In today's world, with protests flaring up again over police reform and voting rights, do you see this role as a call to arms for a new generation?" George's question hung there, probing yet professional, his journalist's instinct honing in on the cultural pulse. Denzel paused, his fingers steepled thoughtfully, the studio lights catching the silver in his close-cropped hair. George, Malcolm wasn't just angry, he was awake. And in 2025, with algorithms deciding who's seen and who's silenced, that awakeness is more crucial than ever. But it's not about rage for rage's sake, it's about action, about holding power to account without apology. The response landed with weight, the audience murmuring in agreement, but George's follow-up carried a sharper edge, one that would ignite the powder keg. Some critics have called the film divisive, saying it stirs up old wounds rather than healing them. As someone who's navigated Hollywood's waters for decades, how do you respond to those who say it's time to move past this victimhood narrative? The word, victimhood, sliced through the amiable vibe like a cold wind, and Denzel's jaw tightened ever so slightly, his eyes narrowing as he processed the loaded phrasing. The control room held its breath, producers exchanging glances. Had George pushed too far, too soon? In that suspended moment, the stage was set for eruption, the live feed capturing every nuance for an audience that had no idea they were witnessing history in the making. Denzel's laugh was low and mirthless, a rumble that echoed off the set's sleek panels. Victimhood, George, that's the kind of word folks use when they can't face the mirror. Malcolm X wasn't a victim, he was a warrior who turned pain into power. And if revisiting that truth divides, then maybe the division was there all along, buried under polite conversations like this one. The studio fell into a hush, broken only by the faint whir of cameras adjusting focus. Michael's eyes widened, Robin shifted uncomfortably, and George, undeterred, leaned in closer, his voice steady but insistent. With all due respect, Denzel, isn't there a risk in glorifying that anger? We've seen how it can spiral into violence, as in the unrest last summer. As a father, as a leader, don't you worry about the message it sends? It was the spark, the implication that Denzel's art, his truth-telling, could incite harm. Denzel's posture straightened, his voice rising like thunder rolling in from afar. Glorifying, George, I'm telling history, not writing fan fiction. And last summer's unrest, that was response to murder, to knees on necks while the world watched on their phones. You want to talk messages? The real danger is hosts like you framing black pain as the problem instead of the symptom. The words detonated, the live audience gasping collectively, some applauding tentatively while others froze in shock. George's face flushed, his prepared notes forgotten as he countered, "That's not what I meant, and you know it. I'm asking for balance, for nuance in a time when division sells tickets." But Denzel was done with nuance, he was erupting, his passion a volcano long dormant now spewing lava across the breakfast table of America. Balance. I've balanced enough scales in my life, 2 Oscars, a shelf of awards, and still, questions like this. You want balance, George? Start by balancing your biases. This isn't an interview, it's an interrogation disguised as morning chit-chat. The control room erupted in chaos, producers yelling for a break, directors slamming the commercial button, but the feed lingered a beat too long, capturing Denzel's heaving chest, his pointed finger, and George's stunned silence. As ads for cereal and car insurance flooded screens, social media ignited. #Denzel erupts trending within seconds, clips dissected on TikTok, Twitter threads unraveling the subtext. Backstage, stagehands whispered furiously, Robin mediating with her calm demeanor, Michael attempting levity that fell flat. Denzel paced, his adrenaline surging, while George conferred with producers, his political cool cracking under the heat. When the show returned, the elephant loomed large, but the anchors powered through, pivoting to lighter fare, a puppy adoption segment that felt absurdly tonal. Yet the damage was done. The clash had humanized Denzel further, elevated him from icon to insurgent, and exposed the fault lines in media's facade of neutrality. Viewers flooded comment sections, some hailing Denzel as a truth teller, others decrying his outburst as unprofessional. Pundits on rival shows dissected it ad nauseum, from CNN panels to Fox firestorms, turning a 10-minute segment into a 24-hour spectacle. For Denzel, it was catharsis, a reminder that even at the pinnacle, the fight persists. As the credits rolled, with George signing off with forced joviality, the studio emptied, but the echoes lingered, a testament to the power of unfiltered voice in a filtered world. And in living rooms across the nation, coffee went cold as families debated, the morning irrevocably altered by one man's refusal to play small. Word count, 1247, character count, 7284. In the aftermath of the commercial break, the Good Morning America set felt like a battlefield strewn with unspoken grenades, the air thick with unresolved tension that clung like humidity before a storm. Robin Roberts, ever the diplomat with her survivor's grace, steered the ship back on course, her voice a lifeline as she introduced the next segment on heart-healthy recipes, complete with a chef demo involving vibrant kale salads and quinoa bowls that promised vitality in every bite. But the elephant in the room, Denzel Washington's volcanic exchange with George Stephanopoulos, trampled any illusion of normalcy, its footprints visible in the awkward glances between co-hosts and the subtle adjustments to camera angles that avoided lingering too long on either man's face. Michael Strahan, sensing the need for his athletic charisma to bridge the gap, cracked a joke about how, even legends need a timeout sometimes, drawing polite laughs from the live audience but eliciting only a wry nod from Denzel, who sat rigidly, his mind clearly miles away, replaying the barbs in his head. George, meanwhile, maintained his composure with the practiced poise of a man who'd weathered White House scandals, shuffling his notes and flashing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes, all while producers in the control room debated whether to cut the interview short or let it burn brighter for ratings gold. Social media, that insatiable beast, was already feasting, tweets pouring in like digital confetti, some with fire emojis saluting Denzel's real talk, others with popcorn gifs reveling in the drama, and a smattering of think pieces forming in real time from culture critics who saw the clash as a microcosm of America's endless culture wars. As the show limped toward the interview's resumption, Denzel leaned back, his fingers drumming a rhythmic tattoo on the armrest, a habit from his stage days that betrayed the storm within. "Let's continue, shall we?" George ventured, his tone conciliatory yet probing, circling back to safer waters with a question about Denzel's directorial influences, name-dropping Spike Lee and echoing praises for the film's cinematography that captured Harlem's pulse in 4K glory. Denzel responded measuredly at first, his baritone softening as he delved into the craft, describing late-night dailies where light and shadow danced like co-conspirators in storytelling, but the undercurrent of friction simmered, ready to boil over again. The audience, a diverse tapestry of early risers from all walks, office workers nursing hangovers, parents multitasking breakfasts, retirees savoring their routines, hung on every word, their remote controls forgotten as the drama unfolded unscripted. Robin interjected with empathy, sharing a personal anecdote about her own battles with cancer and how art had been her armor, forging a momentary bridge that humanized the moment, reminding everyone that beneath the stardom lay shared vulnerability.